Cool. Welcome, everybody. So I'm going to be here today to talk a little bit about depth-enabled augmented reality, why it's necessary, what sort of features it enables for you, and the current push that Occipital has made. We recently released a augmented reality engine that covers the full mixed reality spectrum. And ran a short closed beta where we gave this to a couple of developers, to get their hands on. I'll show you what they managed to make over the course of a couple of days. I'll show you a little bit more of a polished experience. And I actually decided to try it out myself this morning and spent a little bit of time putting together a simple demonstration myself over the course of a couple of hours. So to start off with, I'm going to show you a short video that we made out of our beta testers' results. So here we go. This is our closed beta. So the neat thing here is we're using, this is all run on device. So on iOS using the structure sensor. And what we let users do is we capture the environment and then we track against it. What this means is that you get some really fantastic things like very solid tracking, built-in occlusion and physics. We've optimized it for HMDs, so it's very low latency. Like here at the beginning of this video, you may have missed it. He actually starts around a corner, and as he comes around the edge, you see the model appear. And what this does is it enables a sense of presence in augmented reality that's unachievable with traditional marker-based AR. Because marker-based AR doesn't understand your real world, doesn't understand your real environment. If you're driving a little model AR car around that's marker-based, it drives over the top of objects that it should collide with. It floats over the top of things that it should be occluded by. And every single one of those instances breaks immersion. In addition to all of the features that are enabled by that, we also have a really cool augmented reality markup language, which allows you to author the real world. So I have a developer background, and traditionally, you would go into Unity, you would make some changes, you would build, push it on your device, and then realize that you need to make a change, and so go back into Unity, make your changes there again, and rinse and repeat. What we've done with the bridge engine is make it so that you're able to point at an environment, get the depth map back, and annotate and change model positions live on the fly, and then save that to a file so that it can be used by any number of people. And the very last thing that we did was we also have RGB-only tracking, which is really fantastic because you're able to create capture the depth environment with a depth camera, and then push that out to any number of devices, and they can track against it natively. So here we go. So I'm gonna skip ahead from this slide actually and come back to it. Here's what that looks like when we put it all together actually. So this is a demo we made for CES, where you're going to see some of the robustness of the tracking. You can see the occlusion there from the rabbit, how he hides behind the objects. This isn't something that you could get with non-depth-enabled augmented reality. In just a moment here, we'll see him doing some lighting and physics things. And so all of the shadows interact naturally with the real-world environment as well. Physics work completely out of the box. And so what this is it's one of the cornerstones of presence for believable augmented reality. We just recently hit the point with virtual reality within the last couple of years where people experience it and they're like, oh yeah, this makes sense. All of the pieces fit together here. And we haven't gotten to that point yet in augmented reality. Everybody's working on, these key kind of critical pieces, but natural and intuitive understanding of the world is one of the foundational pieces of where augmented reality is going. The other neat thing you can do with Bridge Engine is full 6-DoF tracking, which means that with a mobile with a iPhone that's connected to a structure sensor, you can have untethered mobile VR experiences. So I'm going to skip back to that last slide. So it's a really fantastic set of software tools for iOS developers for really intuitive and powerful augmented reality experiences on mobile. What I'd like to show you here is a live demo, actually, and explain how simple this process is. So I'm just going to quickly connect to my computer. 1 second here. Just need to airdrop. All right, so the share option isn't coming up on my phone for the screen. So what I'll do is I'm just going to step down and actually kind of do it here in front of you guys and show you that way. Can everybody see this a little bit? So, right? I know, should have brought an iPad Pro. So what we do is we start off by scanning the real world. And you can see right here we're making a mesh live of the environment. This is what we're going to use for tracking later, as well as occlusion. So you can see we're creating a dense mesh of the environment. And then we stop. 1 second. Just going to get around this corner a little better, like so. And I can show this demo in person after the talk, too, if you're interested. Going to turn off stereo mode. We have low latency coupling between vision and graphics for HMDs, which is really fantastic. 1 second. Cool. So here you can see the mesh that we're tracking against. This is we're now in the markup mode, which is where we're allowed to basically annotate the real world. So for example, we want this character to start here, to walk over here. He's then going to jump to the other side of the podium, and then dodge over there. And so these are things that in Unity or in traditional things we would have to build all the time. So you can see we've got our little character over here. And he follows the script that we set for him. And you can see by the balls that physics works, you know, like natively right out of the box. And in addition, we've got fantastic occlusion over here. That one person at that side can see it, you know. And the tracking is also really robust. You can see what the relocalization is like. And you can shake it about as much as you want, and you're not going to lose tracking. So that's with the depth-enabled augmented reality. But again, you can capture this on a single device, build the mesh, and then upload that to any number of non-depth-enabled devices. This means that you can have a single developer set up an environment that, for example, at a conference, 100 people could come through, download their app on your phone, hold it up, and be tracking that robustly, and have environmental awareness, even without depth-enabled devices. So I think that's about the snapshot of it. I'll open up the floor to any questions. Yeah, sure.
So if that one scan is made with that one device, and you say... Hello? Is it on? Am I live?
Just for the video.
So you're saying once that one scan is made, let's say, these people moving through without the depth-enabled devices, would they still have positional tracking on those devices, or?
Yeah, that's correct. Positional tracking, the occlusion, the physics, basically all of the capabilities of our engine The only thing they wouldn't be able to do is update the mesh that they're tracking against, you know? So if an object moves, then the developer would need to go back and take that again. So, in the back? Yeah.
Do you see your platform moving to a single monocular SLAM over the next 5 years?
So we do support, so actually just today, we announced the acquisition of Replica Labs, who are doing monocular SLAM reconstruction. And it's actually their technology that's enabling the RGB only mode against the depth map. So I can't speak to where we're going to be over a couple of years, but this acquisition should say something. So I think this man up front had a question.
Yeah, I'm curious, you said your product was low latency.
Mm-hmm.
Is there some measurement of latency, say in milliseconds? And what would a typical high or regular latency product be?
That's a good question. So I don't have the latency specifications in front of me right now. I'd be happy to shoot you an email with those later if you're curious. But we are doing things like tricks that have been learned from the VR community, including predictive rendering, you know, so getting the whole pipeline finished before and assuming we know where the camera is going to be, which drastically reduces the amount of latency. We're also doing vision and graphics coupling, which means that, you know, we're synchronizing events at a very low level in order to provide really very fast response times. And if you want to come up after the talk, I can show you just how quick, like, you know, if you pass your hand in front of the camera, you won't even be able to notice any delay there. So.
Generally speaking, you need 15 milliseconds to avoid motion sickness, correct?
Yeah, that's ideal. So we have tested these. So, sure, one second. Yeah. So it's basically as optimized as is possible on iOS devices right now. So.
I missed the beginning of your talk, and you may have covered it. What are the distance limitations of your sensor? How
sure.
big, what kind of scale can we go to?
Yeah, we can go as near as about 30 centimeters, and we're able to get stable tracking results as far as 4 meters out. In addition, we're using a lot of RGB tracking support. So while the depth feed, while our depth sensor is accurate out to about 4 meters, we're able to get support essentially from the vision camera as well, which extends the range that you can move to beyond that of the actual sensor. So.
Yeah. Does this work? Is it on? Yeah. Does this only work with your sensor, or will this work on a Tango or HoloLens?
Currently, it only works with our sensor. We are looking at it as at supporting further sensors and platforms in the future. Right now, however, it's iOS and just the structure sensor.
Okay. I think we have time for one more question. Anyone else have a question?
The guys on the left have been very quiet. All right, there you go.
Okay, I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question?
Good question. Yeah. So my name's Jacob Ervin. I'm currently with Occipital and leading a lot of the AR, VR kind of initiatives. So yeah. One last, so just before they kicked me off the stage, one last cool thing that I forgot to mention about the Bridge engine is that it covers, I said this initially, that it covers the entire mixed reality spectrum. What that means is obviously you can get augmented reality like you saw on the screen. You can get virtual reality. You can have untethered mobile VR experiences. So if you put this in a a Homito or a Google Cardboard, you can actually walk around untethered in VR. It also includes, however, augmented virtuality, which means that while you're walking around completely untethered in virtual reality, if you get too close to a real object, we're able to use the depth feed as a mask to bring the real object into your virtual environment. So for example, I've walked from one end of our office to the other end of the office, which is about twice as wide as this here, completely in VR, navigating around obstacles. And this is all enabled completely out of the box. And you can have an app running even without much developer experience within a day or two. So If anybody is curious after they kick me off the stage, like this man's about to, feel free to come on over and I can show you an application that I made this morning in the course of 2 or 3 hours. So, thanks.
Thank you very much, Jacob. And to be clear, we never kick, we only nudge.